Hello, hello. Let me go ahead. Whoops. Hello. Welcome to Master Your Anxiety group session. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that everything is working properly. Hello, Sherry from Texas. We have Kelly watching from Northern Michigan. Awesome. Wonderful. Okay. So let me know. I see a bunch of people are on. So let me know. Say hi. Let me know who's here. Ooh, Cynthia from Utah. Hello, Cynthia. I'm also going to go live on Instagram. Just a sec. Diane from Phoenix. I'm in Phoenix too. Welcome. Mel from Tennessee, Sweden. Okay, so this is interesting right here. So, or it's actually something I wanted to mention. I am live with StreamYard. I want to do just a couple pieces of information real quick before we get started. As you can see, I can see your comment, but I can't see your name. So if you click the link above to give StreamYard permission, I can see your name. Otherwise, if you ask a question later on and you want me to know who you are, you can just put your name afterwards. Hello, Shandana. I want to say it right. You guys from Chicago, wonderful. You guys are going to find out. I have a pet peeve for missaying names. I don't like to missay names. So, I'm sorry if I just said your name wrong. And I also want to mention over on Instagram, I am doing this session live. There are slides that go with it. So I am going to put in the comments. Hold on, let me put a comment. And yep, there it goes. Hold on, let's see if it'll allow me to paste. It says it's pasting, but it's actually not. If you want to see the slides, you can go on and register and then join us on there to see the slides, or it is also on Facebook. Oh, okay, there we go. So I just posted a link for the StreamYard video so you can see the slides we're going to be talking about if you want to do that. Otherwise, you can watch on Instagram. You're just not going to be able to see the slides if you do it that way. And I apologize. It sounds like my dogs just got upset with something. I think my husband might be bringing them in. Hello, Young from Lisa Young. Okay, hello, Lisa from Chicago. It looks like we have a few from Chicago. That's wonderful. So, all right, today we're going to be talking about master your anxiety. I'm going to give you a lot of information about anxiety, what creates it, how we can use that information to repattern our anxiety pathways and triggers. I'm going to be doing a group session, a little group session on anxiety, and I'm going to be giving you some tips today. I'm also going to be doing a giveaway. So you'll want to stay on until the end to see that giveaway. And don't worry, people always think these things are trying to sell some high ticket package. I am not trying to sell a high ticket package. I am actually trying to help you with your anxiety. So I do want you to stay on until the end so that you can get in on that giveaway. And if you have to jump off, then I recommend registering for the live. There's a link. Okay, so above the video in all areas, well, in all the Facebook areas, above the video, there's going to be links. Those links are either to register, to enter the giveaway. There's some links that we're going to talk about later on. And so in Instagram, I will post the links after the video. Probably there is a link already for the StreamYard if you want to see the slides. But I am also live in multiple places. I'm live on StreamYard in multiple Facebook pages, Facebook groups, and YouTube. So I'm getting information. So I also can see people from all different areas. I'm getting comments coming in. So if you don't see a comment, it's because it's probably not the same place that you're watching. Okay, so I think we're good to go. I am going to, let's see, do I want to push myself in the corner? I'm probably going to move myself around throughout the presentation. I do want you to be able to see the full slide, so I think I'm going to keep myself off to the side like this. Once again, if you're watching on Instagram Live, you can check the comments for a link where you can sign up to also see the slides and watching that in StreamYard. There might be times I pop back on camera, more like push myself like this or push myself over. So you'll kind of see it move around. All right, so let's get started, guys. Welcome again to Master Your Anxiety. I am Lisa Ramos. Before we get into the actual content of today's slide, I do need to introduce myself. I know many of you are not familiar with me. My name is Lisa Ramos. I am the co-creator of the Global Energy Method. My husband is the other co-creator. The Global Energy Method is fully accredited through the American Association of Wellness Practitioners, the American Association of Drugless Practitioners, and it is a continuing education provider for the American Naturopathic Medical Certification Board. I am also Emotion Code and Body Code certified. I'm a transformational life coach, a business coach. I have a master's degree in health psychology, and I'm currently writing my dissertation research for my PhD in health psychology. But that's all the boring stuff. This is the fun stuff. And those of you on Instagram, I'd love for you to see my pictures. So if you want to click that link and join to see those slides, I encourage you to do that. These are my kiddos and my grandkids. We have 8 children, 7 girls and 1 boy, and we have 4 granddaughters. And so this is just some of them. Some of my kids won't let me post their pictures. And so I'll post them when they're younger. Like these are actually my children. They're all adults. This little one right here is the mom of this granddaughter. So, but these are my children, my beautiful girls. And my son is not in these pictures. This is my daughter and her husband. These are all 3 my girls. But yes, this is my pride and joy, my beautiful children. Um, I guess one other thing you might want to know about me is I am from a Christian background. Um, I actually grew up Mormon, but then when I was in my 20s, I started going to a Pentecostal church. We are practicing Pentecostal Christian individuals. My husband is a licensed minister. We hold position in the United Pentecostal Church. And so we are very God based. So everything is either going to be research based or usually supported with some type of scriptural background. All right, so we want to master your anxiety today. Hello, Julie on Instagram. Hello, the gentle homeopath. And I see Sharon. Hello from Burlington, Ontario in Canada. Beautiful. All right, my friends, let's jump right in. The first thing I want to mention once again is to stay on until the end because I do have a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away a one-on-one session with me at the end of this presentation. And don't worry, I'm not selling some high ticket offer. I'm not even pitching Global Energy Method. I am here to support you in your anxiety journey. That is what I'm here for today. All right. So before we can get into too much information, we need to kind of define what anxiety is. Anxiety is your body's way of reacting to something that it sees as a potential threat, even if the threat might not be real or immediate. You probably already know that, but I just like to make sure everybody is on the same page as we move forward. Now, what if I told you that anxiety can be a positive thing? I'm going to explain how. There's 2 types of anxiety. We're going to go over both today. First, healthy anxiety. Healthy anxiety is a normal and adaptive response to certain situations or stressors. It can help you stay alert, focused, and motivated to deal with challenges. So, for example, you're going to jump on live in 5, 6 different places, and you're going to talk to a whole bunch of people, and there might be a little bit of anxiety, and it's preparing you for the presentation. If you haven't caught on, that was me today. I didn't feel too much anxiety because I do this every week, but I did notice it was a little bit more than normal because usually I'm not doing them live in public areas. So there is healthy anxiety that drives you into making action. It's an action type of thing. Its goal is to get you to do something. All right. Healthy anxiety is usually temporary and subsides once the stressful situation is resolved. It doesn't significantly interfere with your daily functioning or quality of life. Now, I know most of you are probably thinking, but that's not my anxiety. And that's okay because this entire presentation from this point on is about disordered anxiety. Okay. So I did want you to first understand that there is healthy anxiety, and we need to kind of just look at the differences between healthy anxiety and disordered anxiety. So, disordered anxiety involves excessive and prolonged feelings of anxiety that go beyond what is considered normal. It can be intense and persistent, even in the absence of specific threat or stressors. Anxiety dis Anxiety disorders such as generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, and others are characterized by these prolonged and intense feelings of anxiety. And disordered anxiety can interfere with a person's ability to work, socialize, and enjoy life. It may lead to physical symptoms such as excessive worrying and avoidance behavior. If that's you, I'd love for you to say, "That's me," in the comments. I like to have interaction during these types of events. I want you to be here, present, and participating. So if that's you, say, "That's me. I resonate," or something like that. Now, simply put, disordered anxiety is either one of two things. Either you feel like you're in danger when you're actually safe, or it interferes with your ability to function. These are the clinical diagnostic criteria for anxiety. You have to either feel like you're in danger when you're actually safe, or or it interferes with your ability to function. Has anyone experienced inability to function because of their anxiety? Have you ever been in a position where, like, cognitively you knew you were safe, but you didn't feel like you were safe? If that's true for you, then yes, my friend, you have what is known as disordered anxiety. So I see some yeses. That's my child, me a bit too. I've experienced this level anxiety. Yes, yes, yes. I'm seeing lots of yeses. Okay, you are who we're here to help today. So I'm so glad that you're on this live with me today. Okay. So the question that I ask myself is, why does anxiety become disordered? Okay, so anxiety can be natural, it can be positive, it drives us to action, it makes us do the things we need to do to have a fulfilling life. But what happens between healthy and disordered? Why does anxiety become disordered? And that's what we want to kind of dive into in this presentation today. I want to give you a couple examples. This first example, I want you to kind of follow me through this example. So we have, and I want to just mention because I have some people who recently jumped on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I do have slides. You can use the link that's in the comments to register and watch this on StreamYard so that you can see all my slides, or you can just listen. All right, so we're going to call this woman Barbara. Okay, so meet Barbara. Barbara is a professional individual. She is happy in her life. She is functioning normally, but she has a little secret. Barbara is afraid of dogs. So when Barbara sees a dog, even if it doesn't look scary, she walks the other way. So let's say Barbara goes out in the morning and she wants to take a walk and she starts walking around the block, but she sees another family walking their dog. So she turns around and she kind of walks a little faster and she hurries home. She gets inside the front door. She closes the front door and immediately she feels relief. I survived the encounter with a dog. Whew. Well, pretty soon, what's happening is this is training her brain and her anxiety triggers that she just survived a dangerous experience. So now, anytime she wants to take a walk, she's probably going to get anxiety just by going outside because her brain was just trained that outside there are dogs and they're scary. And when you get home, you're safe. So the brain starts to believe, whew, I just survived this potentially deadly experience. Now we know cognitively that Barbara was safe anyway. Barbara was okay. She could have just walked on the other side of the street. She could have probably walked past this beautiful golden retriever you see in the picture, and she would have been fine. That dog was not about to bite her. However, by turning around and escaping this anxious moment, she just it she just made that fear stronger, and she just trained her brain to have more anxiety when she's in a position where she may see a dog. So what's going to happen is she's going to start staying home more. She may not go to friends' houses because they might have a dog. She may not go to social events because a dog may be present. She likely will never go to a place like the park. She probably is not going to walk around the block. She may just buy a treadmill and stay within her home. So her world just shrank because of her fear over this dog. Now I'm going to give you another example. This baby is at the doctor and it's getting immunizations. Whether you believe in immunizations or not, we're not talking about that today. I'm just showing an example. So this baby's getting an immunization. You can see in the picture, the baby is not happy. So that baby's brain is triggering a stress response. It's explaining to the body, the body is feeling feelings, it's getting surges of different physiological change, that it's in a dangerous position. So, because this child is injured when seeing the doctor, it's creating a neural pathway that the doctor is dangerous. The doctor means pain, and the doctor is dangerous. So now this baby will grow, and she likely will have difficulty going to the doctor. She may have anxiety just thinking about visiting a doctor. She may go to the doctor and have high levels of anxiety. And eventually, she probably won't get the checkups that she should get. She'll put things off because she is nervous of this, and she could potentially negatively impact her health because her brain has been trained to send anxiety signals when she's in a position such as going to the doctor. All right. Disordered anxiety shrinks your world. It limits what you're able to see. It limits what you're able to do. And these patterns are wiring our brains to send more heightened anxiety triggers. So what happens, so I see my child had to do online school, could not even go into stores. Yes. So here's what happens is when we flee a situation that makes us anxious, it is creating a strong neural pathway in the brain to say that this is fearful. And so it will begin to send more and more and more anxiety hormones when you experience that. So if Barbara went outside, the anxiety is going to happen probably even without her seeing a dog. Just walking down the street is going to make her anxious because she thinks there may be someone with a dog. So these are very little examples. This can cover a lot of different things, but what I want to make sure you understand is this is what happens. This is how healthy anxiety turns into disordered anxiety. If you were going to do a live video, I know many of you here are practitioners, some of you are not, but just think of something in your life that maybe is a little scary to do. All right. So when you think about doing that. Let's say, so for example, I'm going to do this live and I start to feel a little anxiety. And maybe I say, you know what? I've already committed to this. I'm going to get it over with, but I'm not going to do it like this again because I don't like that feeling. Running from or removing a trigger like that will strengthen neural pathways to anxiousness. So the next time I even think about doing a live video, I'm going to have a lot of anxiety about that because the brain, I've just trained my brain to give me more anxiety triggers in order to keep me safe. Okay. So each and every one of us that have anxiety have already gone through instances in our lives that has trained our brain and our body to send these physiological changes throughout the body with the intention of keeping us safe. But what really happens is maybe we're safe from this fear, but our world is shrinking. Okay. We're losing the ability to do the things that we want to do the things we love to do. And we can get to the point where we're crippled by anxiety and can barely ever leave the house. And we don't want that to happen. All right. So it is possible to regain control. I want to introduce you to neuroplasticity. You may have heard about this in the past, maybe not, but let's talk a little bit about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize and adapt by forming new neural connections throughout a person's life. Now, it used to be thought that people had all these brain pathways completely developed by the time they're 20. But research over the last couple decades has shown that we go through changes in our neural pathways every single time we're introduced to new information. So we have the ability, neuroplasticity allows the brain to change in response to learning, experience, and environmental influences. So, neuroplasticity is the biological process that strengthens anxiety signals, symptoms, and develops disordered anxiety. So, it's what we were just talking about. That neuroplasticity helps to strengthen those fear signals, the anxiety pathways, and it enhances all the hormones. You're going to get a surge of more hormones every time you avoid a situation that makes you feel anxious. However, the same thing works the other way. It is the same exact thing that allows us to repattern those neural pathways. So it is a tool that can be used to repattern trauma response, stress responses, anxiety responses. It's a very powerful mechanism within your brain that allows us the ability to introduce new stimuli and or information. Now, I see some more people have jumped on Instagram. So I just want to mention real quick, if you're on Instagram and you want to see the slides, there is a link in the comments that you can click on. You can register for the presentation and then watch it on StreamYard so that you're able to see those these slides. Okay, let's keep going. I want to give you one more example. Okay, so let's say you have a friend at work and it's your friend's birthday. So you decide that you want to stop in the morning and get your friend a donut. So you go to bed a little bit earlier the night before. You wake up earlier so that you can leave and have time to stop at the donut shop on your way to work. So you get up early, you get all ready, and then you head to the donut shop. You reach the donut shop, you walk in, and you realize there's only one person ahead of you in line, and you're super excited because that means you should for sure be able to get through this and get to work in plenty of time. So you patiently get in line behind the guy in front of you. Okay, sounds good, right? Well, the problem is the guy in front of you is taking forever. He's asking the clerk behind the counter all kinds of questions. If you can see the slide, you will see that counter. And he's asking her, "Do you have donuts with sprinkles on it?" And you're thinking, "Why are you asking that question? Just look inside the box." Then he's asking, "Do you have any jelly-filled donuts? Do you have any chocolate donuts?" And you're getting more and more frustrated as you wait. And he just keeps asking more and more questions. You want to yell at him and say, "Can you just step aside? Let me get my donut. I know exactly what I want." And then you can keep going. But you don't. You sit there and you get more and more frustrated. After you realize you're going to be late for work because this guy keeps asking questions that are obvious, you end up pretty frustrated. So gets his box finally gets filled, he pays for his food, and you're just sitting there frustrated. And then he turns around and you notice he has a cane. Not only does he have a cane, but there's a red tape at the bottom, and you realize he's blind. So the questions that he was asking now make sense, and all that frustration begins to melt away. Now, I have a question for you. I want you to tell me in the comments what changed. You're still going to be late for work. You still have to decide on your donuts. You're still going to have to show up to work late, explain to your boss what happened. And so, why did that frustration melt away? And I'll let you know it's not a trick question. You'll most likely get it, but I'd love to see what you say. Yes, I see you had all the information. Yes, you have more information. Sharon says her perception has changed. Yep. Empathy. Yes, exactly. All right. You guys got it. It is perception and information. Empathy is another great one. So, yes, it is your perspective. You now see all the information and you understand what's happening. So, even though you're still this as inconvenienced as you were prior, your perspective has changed. So the brain, and if you sometimes people, when I'm telling the story, they can almost feel that frustration build up. And then when you see the last picture, you actually feel it go. So you see how quickly you feel better. You feel that sigh of like, oh, okay, I'm not mad anymore. This is what we're talking about with introducing new information to the neural pathways that make up your anxiety response. So, let's do some energy corrections. So, we wanted to talk about anxiety. I want you to understand how it's that there is, first of all, there's some positive anxiety, but that positive anxiety, when we give into that and we avoid situations, it creates disordered anxiety. And how was that disordered anxiety created? So, now we're going to do a little bit of energy work, and then I'm going to give you some tips for making permanent changes to your anxiety pathways. Okay. So, if I think most people here are familiar with energy work. If you are not, energy work is, it depends on the practitioner, but for me myself, what I did with this is I petition God. It's similar to intercessory prayer. So I stand in for, my intention is everybody who registers or watches this video. So normally it's only people who register, but because this is live, I have it for everyone who watches the video. However, you do have to accept the energy work. So you have to get to this point, accept the energy work. That is your option to accept or deny, and then it will be effective for you. So basically what I do is I stand in, I petition God to make certain changes for any individual that watches the video and accepts the clearing. I do the energy work prior to the session because it can be a little bit time consuming and we don't want to waste your time. So, what I'm going to do is explain to you what was done, and then you have the option to accept all of the energy work done or just a piece of it. Okay, so I see. Please include my daughter Lizzie if possible. She accepts my energy work. Okay. Is Lizzie like a small child, or is she able to make the statements? Is she available? If she's not available, let's say she's a teenager and she's not available, then you can just have her watch the replay, even if you forward it to the energy work section and then have her, she's 16. Okay, so if she's not available, you can just have her watch the replay. Make sure you register for the replay, which is a link inside the caption of this video. And then she can accept it, or as her mother, because she is under 18, you can accept it for her. So you will make two statements. You will accept it for yourself, and then you will accept it for your daughter. Okay? Or you can have her do it herself. Either way. All right. So first I'm going to talk to you about the anxiety pathway clearings that I did. And the first thing I did is I supported a healthy and balanced amygdala response to potential danger. This is important because we want the brain to perceive really only real danger. A lot of times with anxiety, there is no real danger, but it very much feels like we are in danger. And so we want a healthy and balanced amygdala response to potential danger. The reason I word it that way is because if you are in a position that there is danger, I still want that amygdala response, but we just don't want it to be unhealthy or imbalanced. Okay. Then I supported I'm going to tell you all the things we did, and then we'll accept it all as one. So the second thing I did is I supported a healthy and balanced hippocampus response to potential danger. This is very similar to what I just said. I then supported a healthy and balanced prefrontal cortex to potential danger. I supported a healthy and balanced hypothalamus response to potential danger, and I supported a healthy and balanced neurotransmitter response to potential danger. The neurotransmitters are what is sending your the signals to your body to respond with I'm sorry, I was looking at the notes, with those anxiety pathway triggers. Okay, so if you want to accept all of this work, you will say the statement, I now accept all energy corrections to my anxiety pathway. I now accept all energy corrections to my anxiety pathway. If you want to accept some and not the others, you would simply alter the statement by saying, I now accept the energy corrections to my amygdala response, for example. And then you will do the ones that you prefer. I know most people, if not all, will accept all of it or none of it. So I'm not going to go through each one individually. And for you, Lisa, you can simply say, I now accept the energy corrections to, and insert your daughter's name to, let's just say your daughter's name is Kim. I now accept energy corrections to Kim's anxiety pathway. Okay. All right. Wonderful. And now we're going to install some affirmations. And why do we want to do that? It's really important to do these because it introduces new information to the psyche, to the subconscious mind, and it allows that information to be utilized as information when evaluating whether to send anxiety triggers. Okay. So if you are on with the slides, so if you're on Instagram, there's a link in the comments where you can register for StreamYard where I'm presenting this. There are slides available. You can go there and that way you can see the slides. Um, but if you can see the slides, I recommend taking a screenshot of these affirmations because I would love for you to continue saying these for the next 3 to 5 days. If your anxiety is really severe, you can go 7 to 10 days, and you can even say them up to 3 times a day to help introduce this new information to your anxiety pathway. This one we're going to do individually. We're going to take our time and walk through it individually. I know that we've been on here a while, but I really feel like this is important to get that new information within the psyche. So the first one we're going to say together is, I give my mind and body permission to accept new information about my anxiety. The reason we want that one is so that I'm going to give you some tips, and when you do those tips, it's going to help to alleviate the anxiety quicker if you have this information already present. So I give my mind and body permission to accept new information about my anxiety. I am open and willing to be in uncomfortable situations. I am open and willing to be in uncomfortable situations. Now, as you notice, I didn't say dangerous situations, but I did say uncomfortable. So as long as it's safe, it can be uncomfortable. I choose to remain in environments that I understand are not dangerous, regardless of how I feel. I choose to remain in environments that I understand are not dangerous, regardless of how I feel. I can and I will overcome my anxiety. I can and I will overcome my anxiety. I fully accept the release of fear triggers that are unhealthy. I fully accept the release of fear triggers that are unhealthy. I welcome and accept new neural pathways that improve my life and health. I welcome and accept new neural pathways that improve my life and health. All right, great. Okay, so let me give you some tips. First, I want to talk about what not to do. Do not introduce an anxiety trigger and say, I'll stay until my anxiety gets too overwhelming. This is what most people will do. They will say, okay, I have social anxiety. I'm going to go out with my friends, but I'm only going to stay for a little bit until the anxiety is too bad, and then I'm going to leave. So if you do that, it will reinforce the neural pathways feeding that particular fear or that particular anxiety pathway, the neural pathway for that trigger. It will make it stronger, and your brain is going to be like, okay, sounds good, and push tons of anxiety hormones into your bloodstream. You are going to get overwhelmed. You may even get panicky, and you will find that your anxiety gets worse. Do not introduce yourself to something with the idea, the intention, or the saying that you are going to stay until the anxiety is too overwhelming. It will train your brain to push more anxiety hormones. That's very, very important. But what you can do is introduce anxiety triggers slowly, patiently, and with the intent that you will stay until you feel relief. So let me give you an example. So remember Barbara, who was afraid of dogs, okay? So what she may do is she may start by going to like a dog park and sitting outside a cage. Really, she could probably start, since we talked about her anxiety being super, super severe, she could probably start simply by looking at pictures of dogs online and continue looking at those pictures until the anxiety is resolved. Then she can go to sitting outside of a fence at a dog park, seeing them in her vicinity, but knowing that there's a fence between. Once the anxiety feelings are are done, one, because it will process through, your body will resolve it, and then you exit the environment. And every time that happens, so let's say you do that. Let's say for this example, she looked at pictures online of dogs. She felt anxiety and she says, "No, I'm going to keep doing it until I feel better." She continues looking at dogs. And what happens is relief will come. And then when she gets to that point, the brain says, "Oh, this isn't dangerous." And the next time she looks at those pictures, she will have less reaction. If she does that multiple times, then she will stop feeling scared by looking at the pictures. And that's when she introduces the next step. Okay. So let's say you have social anxiety. You may start simply by looking at pictures of people being social, see how you feel. If you don't feel anxiety with that, then maybe go out with one or two friends to something that's not overpopulated. Then you can gradually increase. But the key here is to stay in the environment until the anxiety hormones are resolved. Once you feel that relief, or you're like, okay, I'm not feeling anxious anymore, that is when you can leave the environment, because now you've just given new information to your brain that says, this is not dangerous. I stayed and I survived. And that is going to limit and reduce your anxiety. And if you continue that, you can actually completely eliminate those anxiety triggers. And then, so step two, I've already talked about that, lengthening exposure or exposed to stronger stimuli with the same intent to stay until you feel relief. So that was, you know, doing the more advanced pieces. So, like Barbara, who's afraid of dogs, will eventually get to the point where she can go to a friend's house who has a dog and maybe even pet the dog. And then she won't feel anxious. So those are the steps to give your neural pathways that additional information, and the brain will actually rewire those fears so that you no longer have those anxiety triggers. Now, what are you going to expect from this particular session? I ex- I expect you to have lighter anxiety triggers. So even just from the energy work, I expect you to have lighter anxiety triggers. You will likely still be triggered, but it won't be as intense. You will have the ability to put the action steps to repattern into action. So with horrible anxiety, you may have not even been able to put yourself in this environment to even try to repattern those processes. But with the energy work that was done, I fully expect you to be able to take those action steps. And I would love for you to take some action this week, at least a tiny piece of action. I also expect possible setbacks, but keep pushing forward. With anxiety, we can easily make mistakes that give us a slight pushback. Okay. So if you have a setback, just refocus. You know what to do now, and I want you to do it. And as you continue to do that, if you stay dedicated, you'll see here your anxiety can recover. So if you stay dedicated, I expect full anxiety recovery. Okay. Now, I want you to stay on until the end for that giveaway. So remember, I'm going to be giving away a one-on-one email session with me. But before tell you how to enter that giveaway, I just want to tell you about upcoming group sessions. These are sessions exactly like today's, except they're not public. So you will get a link. You'll join StreamYard. There'll be a presentation. I'll be on live. You'll have the replay. It's going to be just like today. These 3 sessions are kind of geared around specific types of anxiety. So let me put my glasses on here. On November 4th at 11 a.m., I will be doing a group session on Be Here, Be Now, Escape Chronic Worry, and Regain Your Joy. So this one is specifically on chronic worrying and teaching you how to be here, be now in the moment. Then on the 11th, I'll be doing Social Butterfly, Restore Your Social Life with Peace and Calm. And on November 18th, I'll be doing No More Anxiety Tummy. A lot of people with anxiety get the anxiety tummy. They get butterflies, tummy grumbles, and sometimes even very upset stomachs. So we'll be talking specifically about the digestive process and how that impacts, how your anxiety impacts your digestion. And we'll be doing a session on that. So each one of these will have a teaching component and an energy healing component with the, and then some tips for moving forward. These are $49 each, or you can get all 3 for just $79. There is a link in the caption to this video if you're anywhere except for Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you can look in our profile and click on group sessions, and then you'll be able to see that. Now let's talk about the giveaway. So to enter to win, what you're going to win, let me first talk about that, is my thing is, let's see. Whoops. I just lost my screen, just a sec. Okay, so what you're going to potentially win is a free detailed report session done by me. It can be done on any focus. It doesn't have to be anxiety. It can be anything, whatever you're dealing with. It is an email session and it's valued at $245. So to enter to win, it's super easy. You can what I need you to do is, number 1, register with the link in the caption for this presentation. What that's going to do is it's going to secure you the replay so that you don't lose it. You'll get the replay link with it in an email that's directly sent by StreamYard. And then once you get that email confirmation that you have signed up for the presentation, which is free, then you just respond to that confirmation email with an honest review of this presentation. Just let me know how you feel about it. And then I'll be choosing a winner from those who do that on November 6th. Monday, November 6th, I'll choose a winner and I will send out an email to everyone who entered to let you know who won. All right, so it's that simple. You don't have to purchase anything. You don't have to go like any pages. You just need to sign up for this presentation that you just got so that you can secure that replay and then respond to the automatic email you get from StreamYard letting me know how you felt about the presentation. And I'd love to hear feedback as you start to implement this. I'd love to hear feedback as well. Okay, so hold on, let's see. I need to find my slides again. Here we go. Actually, that's what it is my Adobe keeps coming up in front of it. Hold on. I don't know why it's doing that. All right. So now we're 2 questions. Let me push that off to the side. I do see some questions here. If you're on Instagram and you have a question, you can certainly post that. I'll look at that in just a bit. Okay, let's see what we got here. How do you recommend approaching exposure therapy for anxiety in cases where the anxiety has gotten to the point that you have anxiety towards everything? Okay, so Paula, great question. First of all, I'm not a big fan of exposure therapy. It really depends on what the anxiety trigger is. So let's say so what I talked about is a type of exposure therapy, but actual exposure therapy usually um, involves reliving traumas. Okay. So they want you to talk about trauma. They want you to feel it again. They want all of that. I don't agree with that. I personally would never use that in practice. That is my personal preference as a psychologist, but some people do. Now, I will say it's very beneficial if you have a phobia. So let's say you have a phobia to spiders and you expose yourself to spiders. Or I'll give you a really good example. I used to be super claustrophobic and I couldn't be inside of those parking structures because it just felt so closed in. And so to resolve that, I did go into parking structures and sit there until the anxiousness went away. So that is considered exposure therapy. It wasn't gradually done. I talked about my fear of it while I was there. Um, and so it's effective with phobias. But let's say you are someone who has endured a very severe trauma. I've seen a lot of negative effects from reliving that trauma. So personally, I don't like that method, but there are a lot of psychologists and or psychiatrists even that will promote it. So it depends on what you're exposing yourself to. So like with the dog instance example, exposing yourself to a dog eventually is good, but it needs to be done slowly, like we talked about, because if Barbara goes out and she knows she's horribly afraid and she goes and just sits down with the dog sniffing all over her, it's going to put her into a full panic and it's actually going to strengthen the pathways rather than repattern them. So, and when your anxiety is towards everything, like you mentioned, there's something that's triggering it. Usually there's a social aspect. If everything triggers you, it's you most likely have social anxiety that has evolved into every part of your life. So like if you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go out shopping, you do all your shopping on Amazon or you order, Uber Eats or what's that other one that delivers groceries? But you know what I mean. So like typically there's a social aspect. I would recommend starting with the social aspect and then moving forward to see what else is affecting you. Let's see the next one. Very helpful distinction to do exposures first, then can be done without making it worse. Yes. 100% truth. And if it's not the worst human experience. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that was referring to, but I know it had to do with one of the anxiety triggers. This is very helpful. Thank you, Lisa. I'm looking forward to upcoming group sessions. Wonderful, Kelly. Or in cases where anxiety is more generalized. Yeah. So there is still something that's triggering it. The key would be to identify what is the most powerful trigger and then working on that trigger and working backwards to the more subtle triggers. If it's like you can't figure out, let's say you're like, I cannot figure out what is causing this, then I would again start with social. I would start to maybe start by going to a store that's not overcrowded, like maybe it's a health food store or it's a like I wouldn't go to Walmart. I would go to somewhere that's smaller. I would go on a time and day that's less busy. Like you're not going to want to go on Thanksgiving Eve. My kids use Eve for everything. So let's say it's the day before Thanksgiving. I wouldn't go into a grocery store and think that I need that, like that's throwing you in the deep end, if you know what I mean. So use something that's more gradual. Let's see. Will the live be recorded so that I can watch it later? Please answer in the comment. I can't listen now. Okay. Um, so the yes, we are recording and the replay is available, but I'll let Anna know. Anna is one of our Global Energy Method practitioners. So is Paula and Kelly. So I can let her know later on. Thank you so much. Amazing session. Thank you, Diane. I had these types of, I had these type all sorts of phonies and have improved tremendously. Oh, phonies, anxieties. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're referring phonies like because you're not actually in danger. I get what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense. Anxiety. Thank you. Thank you, Paula. And it's nice to see you on live. I know we interact a lot, but I mean, I can't see you, but it's nice to be able to interact here live. Okay, my friends. Thank you. Oh, phobias. Did I read that wrong earlier? Yeah, phobias. Okay. Okay, my friends, we're at about an hour now. So I appreciate you being here, staying on live with me, and don't forget to check out the links in the caption. There's links to register for the replay. I want you to be able to secure that replay. A lot of times these videos will kind of time out. And so I want you to secure that replay. Go to that. It's free to do. It's easy to sign up. And then once you get that confirmation email that you have that, reply and just give me some kind of information. Give me some feedback on how you enjoyed the session. And then you can always message me or email me in like a week or two when you've utilized these tips and let me know how it has improved your anxiety. There's also some other links in there. There's a link if you do want to get any of those paid sessions, you can certainly do that. There's a link in the description or caption as well. Okay, my friends, thank you for being here. It was wonderful to spend this time with you, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Bye-bye.